Ken Hill from FasterSafer.com. I have been waiting to do this voiceover. This is a pretty cool opportunity. I got to ride Miller Motorsports Park Outer Loop. So this is the outer loop used for AMA and World Superbike, and I got to ride it this pretty chilly day. I don't think it was over. Might have been 50 degrees, 52 degrees, something like that. But I got to ride the track all by myself, and what it was a treat to ride at Miller, let alone a treat to ride the outer loop and to get to do it by myself. So here I am riding one of the school FZ1s, and my plan for this session is, because the FZ1 is so honestly, it's pretty limited. It's got a set of Dunlop Q2s on it, and with that bike, you've got to be able to put that bike in the right place at the right time. So it does a really good job with brake force. It does a really good job with acceleration force, but it doesn't have a lot of lean angle. So we have to be able to time things correctly to be able to take away lean angle on exits. So also this track really plays into being able to use the brakes at lean angle. And there's some spots where you're going to use the brakes for a long time, and there's some spots where you go to the brakes at lean angle. So let's get going. Here we go. Come out of 6B. Great exit out of 6B. Come out of there in second gear, third gear. And I tried a few different entries here into Witchcraft, just to mess around with it a little bit and see what I liked. Use your brakes in there, just a little bit, your brakes for geometry, accelerate out. Our entrance into the attitudes depends on if we're running a more offensive or defensive position. But what really matters is this point right there, to get the bike back to the left to drive off. And we're trying to make that path as straight as possible so we can accelerate down to it. See how I use every bit of track on the entry to open up that turn. Twilla turn is really not a 90-degree turn, so we really can get our eyes up, picked up, and drive off to the exit. And you'll see here in Clubhouse, accelerate off of Clubhouse, and I accelerate out of Clubhouse and use that track, and I go straight in to wind up using my brakes. Use my brakes till I'm happy with my speed and direction. Then there's a big drive off of wind up straight into release. Oh, nice direction change, and really pretty nice drive right there. Our top speed on this long straightaway is all determined by what you do, how you place the bike in that last corner. So that's why I'm going to be really patient in there to get the bike where I want it to go. So up into fifth gear here. And now I'm thinking turn one. Turn one, I'll go to the brakes, use my brakes for a super long time because the radius is so big. It's a huge radius in turn one. It's not a 90-degree corner. Accelerate off. I don't use all the track on the exit because it makes it too hard to bring the bike back for two, and two is actually, the exit of two is more important, so we want to make sure we maximize that. Bring the bike back over for three. Three, I actually turn in a little bit early because I do want to be placed wide. That puts me in that really nice sweet spot between 3 and 4, and done correctly on a 600 and even on the FZ1 with Dunlop Q2s, I'm not letting off for 4. It's wide open there. 5 has a very short radius, get a lot of our braking done straight up and down. We still turn in with the brakes, and see how look at that path right there. See how straight that exit is? That just means I can really go to the throttle while I take away lean angle. Turn 6, notice how I make a big V out of this, bring it in. Huge entry into 6A, now 6B, great exit. Use all that track on the exit, second gear, third gear, and turn in on the throttle, go to the little bit of brakes, and I did turn in a little bit earlier there, use my brakes, accelerate off. And I messed around with the entry of the attitudes as well. I opened that up a little bit more of an offensive line, use my brakes. And notice how I place the bike there to the right, bring it back, and see how straight my path is coming off that corner, so I can use a lot of acceleration. Radius of Twilla is pretty short, a lot of brakes straight up and down, use my brakes. Now I'm accelerating past that apex. Boy, it is a big deal to get your eyes up to that exit, because the exit apex is actually pretty blind right there. Go to our brakes. Turn in with the brakes, use our brakes till right up in there. Now I'm accelerating past that apex, bring it out, and you see my path is straight into wind up, use my brakes, get the bike turned, accelerate off, and you see my path is fairly straight into wind up or into release, use my brakes, let the bike turn, and now accelerate past that apex because I've got the bike in a position to accelerate. That's really what I'm trying to do. You guys remember that from that last video we did, all we're trying to do is get the bike in a position to accelerate. Long straightaway here, I can relax for a few seconds thinking about what's next. What's next? Well, what's next is turn 1, sit up on the brakes, get my eyes scanning, turn in, use my brakes so I'm happy with my speed and direction. I like that. Now I can start to pick up the throttle, accelerate off. I'll actually turn in to turn 2 on the throttle, go to just picking up a little bit of brakes. Now I'll accelerate back off. I work, harder I go, harder I've got to work to bring that bike back over for 3. Get the bike in a place to accelerate there, accelerate turn 3 into 4, getting my eyes up, accelerate past that apex, use that track, go to my brakes, build brake pressure straight up and down. Now I'll trail those brakes off, and now let's look for that straight path on that exit. And I get the bike, oh, there it is right there, accelerate off, 2nd gear, 3rd gear, bring the bike back over for 3, back down to 2nd, and you see how I have that nice early but slow turn in there that allows me to build more brake force, accelerate off of 6B there, 2nd gear, 3rd gear, might even click 4th here if I get a pretty good drive, turn in on the throttle, brakes there for geometry, get right up to my apex, accelerate off, and I just messed around a little bit with opening that up a little bit more. Big acceleration zone right there, got to roll off, let the bike turn, bring it back to the left, there's that straight path, accelerate down there. Build brake pressure for Tooele, let the bike turn, accelerate past that apex, really picking my eyes up there, picking a really great reference point out there. Building brake pressure for Clubhouse here. Turn in, use my brakes, accelerate back off. I'm pretty darn happy with those laps. It was just a few laps, but I sure had a blast, and the lap time's pretty darn good. You'll find that the FZ1 can actually get around the track pretty well. So thanks for the laps of Miller.